All right, so today we are going deep on Captain Marvel, like really deep.
Oh, I like it. Deep dives are where you find the really good stuff.
Exactly. You're getting ready for your big MCU marathon.
Right.
And we're here to give you all the good stuff to think about while you watch, not just the surface level details.
I'm all about those juicy details, those connections you wouldn't make otherwise.
Yeah, and this isn't just another superhero flick. We're talking about Captain Marvel, the film's impact, those behind-the-scenes things that true fans geek out over, and why this particular hero was worth a billion-dollar origin story.
That's what makes a deep dive so cool, right? We've got Wikipedia for the hard facts, but then we're layering on the expert analysis of Roger Ebert's review.
Okay, so starting with those Wikipedia facts. Did you know that Captain Marvel was the very first female-led superhero film to break $1 billion?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a huge deal.
It is. When you think about it, 2019 wasn't that long ago. But in terms of representation in superhero films, that's a landmark moment. Huge pressure on the film to perform, both financially and critically.
Absolutely. And the article mentions critics generally loved Brie Larson's performance. But audiences, that's where it gets kind of dicey. There was a wave of negativity surrounding this film, which the article attributes in part to something called review bombing. What is review bombing exactly? Fill us in.
Well, in a nutshell, it's an attempt to tank a film's rating before most people have even had a chance to see it, often fueled by, anxiety surrounding the film's themes, maybe the casting. And in this case, a female-led superhero film challenging the status quo. It seems to have rubbed some people the wrong way.
Right, so it becomes more than just a movie at that point.
It's this cultural event.
Yeah.
But moving on, I was blown away by something else I found in the Wikipedia article. They used de-aging technology on Samuel L. Jackson for this entire film.
Oh, wow.
We're not talking about a little touch-up here. They made him look 25 years younger throughout the entire thing.
It's amazing how far that technology has come.
Yeah.
I mean, a few years earlier, that would have been almost impossible to pull off convincingly. But here, it just works.
Yeah.
It's seamless. And it adds this whole other layer to his dynamic with Captain Marvel, seeing this younger, less world-weary Nick Fury.
It's like we're seeing the events that shaped him into the Nick Fury that we meet later on, right? Like the hardened leader who brings the Avengers together.
Right, exactly. And it makes you think, how much did those early experiences with Captain Marvel influence his approach to the Avengers initiative later on? That's something that Roger Ebert actually picks up on in his review. He highlights that this film isn't just Captain Marvel's origin story. It's a key chapter in Nick Fury's journey as well.
Oh, interesting.
He's not the jaded spy master yet. He's still figuring things out. And his encounter with Carol Danvers, with Captain Marvel, clearly leaves a mark on him.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder how much those early interactions shaped him into the Nick Fury we know from all the other films later in the MCU.
Totally. And it speaks to that interconnectedness of the entire MCU that we love to unpack in these deep dives.
Yeah.
But Ebert also touches on something else that I found really interesting, the film's reception.
Yeah.
Wikipedia touches on that review bombing controversy we talked about.
Yeah.
But Ebert's review, while not scathing or anything, does point out some shortcomings.
Yeah, he uses the word fine a lot.
Right.
Which, coming from a world-renowned film critic like Roger Ebert, isn't exactly high praise.
Not exactly a rave.
He even mentions that Superman with boobs problem, which I have to admit I hadn't really considered before reading his review.
Yeah, that's a big one.
For those who haven't heard that phrase before, can you unpack that a bit for us?
Sure. It's a critique that comes up a lot when we're talking about female superheroes, and I think it points to a larger issue with representation in media in general. But the Superman with boobs problem basically boils down to when female characters are written as essentially male characters with superpowers.
Right.
They lack those distinct personality traits and character arcs that make them feel like fully realized people.
So they end up feeling like just a powerful version of a male archetype.
Exactly. And Ebert seems to suggest that Captain Marvel, while definitely powerful, might fall into this trap a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that.
He points out that her character relies a lot on rebelliousness, and that while not an inherently bad quality, can feel a little one-dimensional at times.
Yeah.
He also mentions a lack of originality in the film's plot and overall execution.
Which makes sense considering it's set in the 90s and plays with a lot of tropes we've seen before.
Right, exactly.
So what did Ebert actually like about the film?
It's funny because one of the things he praises is that Nick Fury dynamic that we were just talking about.
Oh, interesting.
He found their relationship to be a refreshing change of pace and offered a unique perspective on both characters.
Okay.
He also really enjoyed the film's nods to Top Gun,
Oh.
even going so far as to call it like a female-led take on that genre.
Which for Ebert is practically a standing ovation.
Basically.
And speaking of Top Gun, how did I not notice before that Captain Marvel's cat, Goose, is named after the character played by Anthony Edwards in that film?
Oh, really?
Goose.
Ah.
But then I was thinking about it, and in the comics, her cat's name is Chewie,
Oh, wow.
after Chewbacca from Star Wars.
I did not know that.
So I guess they went with Goose for the film to keep things in line with that 90s setting.
That makes sense.
But those little details, those connections to other films and pop culture moments, they're part of what makes these movies so fun to unpack.
Absolutely. And it's that attention to detail that elevates them beyond just your average superhero flick. But I also appreciated that Ebert highlighted the film's respect for the real-life heroes who inspired these stories. Both Wikipedia and his review mentioned that they had actual fighter pilots consulting on the film.
Oh, wow.
And one of them tragically passed away during production.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it really adds another layer to those flight sequences, knowing that real expertise and experience informed how those scenes were shot.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that even these fantastical stories are often rooted in reality.
Exactly.
It's amazing what you notice when you start to really think about those things, the cultural impact, the technology involved, those little nods to reality. It adds a whole new dimension to the story.
That's what I love about these deep dives, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about bombarding you with trivia. We want to spark those aha moments, those connections that deepen your appreciation for these films.
Totally. And I'm already thinking about the sequel, The Marvels. It'll be so interesting to see how everything we've discussed plays into that story, especially with Monica Rambeau stepping into her own as a superhero after seeing her as a young girl in Captain Marvel.
Exactly. It really highlights how this film, while focused on Carol Danvers' origin story, has these ripple effects throughout the MCU. We see how Monica's journey, even from a young age, is shaped by her encounter with Captain Marvel. And now she's going to become part of this much larger tapestry of interconnected stories.
Makes you wonder what other characters or plot lines might have been subtly influenced by Captain Marvel that we haven't even considered.
That's the beauty of it all, isn't it? There's always something more to discover, another layer to peel back. Just keep those insights in mind as you continue your MCU marathon.
Oh, I will.
Pay attention to those details, the connections, the way these films build on each other. You'll start to see the bigger picture in a whole new light.
Absolutely. I am going to be watching with a whole new perspective, looking for those echoes of Captain Marvel everywhere.
That's what it's all about. This deep dive isn't just about the time we spent together, but equipping you with the tools to continue exploring on your own.
I feel like you've given me a whole new appreciation for Captain Marvel. It's not just a superhero movie. It's this cultural touchstone, a technological marvel, and this really important stepping stone in the evolution of the MCU.
I'm so glad to hear that. And hey, maybe this deep dive has sparked a curiosity to look beyond the surface of other films you watch, too.
Definitely. Thanks for guiding me on this journey. It's been eye-opening.
It's been a pleasure, as always. Until next time, happy watching.